Hi everyone and welcome to my live sermon broadcast. Hope you all forgive the slightly informal wear. It is extremely hot. I hope you're all enjoying the weather, able to get out a little bit and enjoy yourselves if safe to do so. We'll start as we always do with prayers for those who are unwell. And for the general situation, we'll do the traditional Shir Amalos, page 510 if you're using a Green Singers. And we'll sing the traditional tune. Shir Amalos, eso einay el harim, me'ayin yavai, Ezri me'im Adonai, oiseh shamayim va'aretz, al yitein lamoid raglecha, al yanum shoimrecha, hinei lo yanum v'lo yishon, shoimeh Yisroel, Adonai shoimerecha, Adonai tilcha, al yad yaminecha, Yoimam hashemesh lo yakeka, v'yoreyach balayla, Adonai yishmorecha, mikol ra yishmor es nafshecha, Adonai yishmor teischa uvayecha, me'ata biyad oilam. A song of ascents, I lift my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? It comes from the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. He will not let your foot stumble. The one who guards you does not slumber nor sleep. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. For the Lord is your guardian and the shade at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your life. He will guard your going and coming now and forevermore. Today marks Yom Yerushalayim. This morning we said Hallel, and the prayer for Israel I think we'll add to our short prayers now. Also the prayer for the state of Israel and her defense forces, which we'll say now before we continue. Mishaberach avotenu Avram Yitzchak Yaakov v'yivarechem medinat Yisrael hashav yatzeha al ha'adama shenishma l'avotenu latzet lanu tem libam ha'atcha v'yivatcha l'sadav mishmat v'tzedaka v'nizker b'yameinu l'divrei avdecha neviim ki mitzion tetzei Torah u'devar Adonai Yerushalayim Avinu shebeshmayim v'kodna et chayalei tzahal magnei eretz kodshenu shomer mikol Torah v'tzuk shlach bracha v'atzlacha v'chol ma'aseitehem sim shalom ba'aretz v'simchat olam al kol shveha v'shav Yaakov v'shagat v'shalom v'ein macharit ufrosu kat shalom al kol shvetev v'latzecha chen yiratzayin v'noimar Amen. You blessed our fathers Avram, Yitzchak and Yaakov. Bless the state of Israel, its leaders and advisors in the land which he swore unto our fathers to give us. Put into their hearts love and fear of you, to uphold it with justice and righteousness. May we be worthy in our days to witness the fulfillment of the words of the prophets. Out of Zion shall go forth the law, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. O Heavenly Father, remember the Israel Defense Forces, guardians of our holy land. Protect them from all distress and anguish. Send blessing and success to all the work of their hands. Grant peace in your holy land and everlasting happiness to all of its inhabitants, so that Jacob shall again have peace and tranquility, with none to make him afraid. Spread the umbrella of your peace over all the dwellers on earth. May this be your will, and let us say Amen. We wish, first of all, Mazel Tov to those with birthdays this week: Stephen Strong, Jeremy Benden, and Arnold Garfield. Hearty Mazel Tov to Simone and Oliver Hyman, and Nathan, on the brother of a daughter and sister, Chloe Jessica. Mazel Tov wishes to the grandparents, Lynn and David Hyman, Michelle and Bradley Mervish, great-grandparents, and to all of the families. It's lovely news. Our condolences to Michael Medallia on the loss of his dear mother this week, also to the family of Gerald Lee on his tragic passing. And we wish long life also to those with Yortzeit as follows. Tomorrow, Peter Friedman for his mother, Yvonne Kay for her sister-in-law, Ellen Moss for her mother, and Helen Perlmutter for her brother. On Sunday, Lisa Foe for her father, Karen J for her father, Julian Rainsbury for a member of the community, Norma Sagler for her sister, and Jeffrey Windish for his mother. On Monday, Barry Phil for his mother, Malcolm and Stephen Finn for their father, and Yvette Henderson for her father. On Tuesday, Linda Asher for her husband, Shirley Ashton for her mother, Lawrence Cohen for his mother, Beryl Klein for her mother, and Barry Ward for his mother. On Wednesday, Wolf Bloom for his mother, Michael Phil for his mother, Gillian Levin for her father, David Miller for his father, Ronald Palmer for his mother, Leroy Phillips for his father, Eddie Schleien for his mother, Sonia Stone for her brother, and Gary Zilberschatz for his grandfather. On Thursday, Betty Friedman for her father, and Elaine Mitchell for her husband. On Friday, Deborah Barkley for her father, Michelle Bitton for her mother, Sharon Brower for her father, Louis Dyke-Maker for his wife, Carol Gleischer for her mother, Robert Ingram for his mother, and Kitty Selby for her mother and her first husband. Wish everyone long life, and Chaim Aruchim, and also we wish long life to Gary Zilberschatz's aunt as well in Israel. Adoin ho'elamim zachores nishmas tova bas Yeshua Alta, v'es Shifra bas Yaakov, v'es Hershel ben Moshe, v'es Devar Rivka bas Yeshua HaKohen, v'es Shendel bas Yehuda, v'es Rivka bas Avron, v'es Pinchas ben Meir, v'es Avron ben David, v'es Avron ben Louis, v'es Pasel ben Yehuda Ber, v'es Luba bas Mordechai, v'es Dina bas Yosef, v'es Alka bas Naphtali, v'es Rezel bas Ruvain, v'es Ragafivish ben Avram Yaakov, v'es Yitzchok Yosef ben Yaakov Dov, v'es Devar bas Shlomo, v'es Shmuel ben Hershel, v'es Ragafiv ben Avram Yaakov, v'es Avram Yitzchok ben Mordechai, v'es Yosef bas ben Avram, v'es Melech ben Moshe, v'es Mindel bas Moshe, v'es Nachman Tzvi ben Yaakov Alevi, v'es Miriam bas Hershel, v'es Sosha bas Binyamin, v'es Miriam bas Chaim Chiora, v'es Chana bas Chaikel Meir, Shochul Olamam, and Avrach Nosich Tina Shem Tzuris Betzuras Chaim, Simcha Sakam, Menucha Sam Kavod, V'Noima, Amen. Wish long life to all those marking yard sites. Of course, this week is Yom Tov. If you're on our mailing list, you should have received, hopefully, or you will receive in the next couple of days, one of these booklets, which is basically Shavuos at home. It's got everything you need, except the cheesecake, to celebrate Shavuot. It's got articles, it's got page numbers, it's got recipes. If you have children, you should have received also a booklet for them. And if you haven't, please let us know, so we can all celebrate Yom Tov at home on Friday and Shabbos of next week. Story is told, apologies those who have probably heard it before. Fellow was on a roof somewhere in Manhattan, I guess in normal times, and he was standing at the edge about to jump off, and somebody else sees him, he goes up there and he says, "Don't do it, it's not worth it." He says, "What do you mean it's not worth it?" He says, "No, really." He says, "My life is just, terrible, and I've had enough." The other guy says, "Well, there must be something in your life." He says, "Are you religious? Are you a Christian?" The chap on the roof says, "Well, yeah, I am." He says, "Oh, me too." He says, "I'm also a Christian." He says, "Are you a Catholic or Protestant?" He says, "Or Reform or Unitarian?" He says, "Reform." He says, "Wow, I'm also Reform. Look at that, we have something in common." He says, "Is that the United Reform Church or just the regular Reform?" He says, "No, it's the United Reform." He says, "My gosh, me too. See, we have something in common, something to live for." He says, "Is that United Reform of the East Side or United Reform of the West Side?" He says, "No, that's United Reform of the West Side." He says, "Wow, me too. Is that the first United Reform of the West Side or the second United Reform of the West Side?" He says, "The first." He says, "Wow, me too." He says, "Is that the first United Reform of the West Side 1868 or the first United Reform of the West Side 1883? And the chap says 1868. And the other guy says, "Die, heretic," and pushes him off the roof. Today, tribalism would be seen as very primitive. I mean, that story, you think, goodness gracious, they really got nothing in common just because they go to slightly different churches. Tribalism is seen as something very primitive, very archaic, something from the ancient world, clan warfare and tribes, very Middle Eastern, very, very old-fashioned, causes disharmony, causes fighting, causes conflict and bloodshed. And yet, amazingly, in this week's Torah reading of Bamidbar, more than any other portion in the Torah, not only does it give credence, but it embraces tribal difference. In Bamidbar, the Torah tells each of the 12 tribes at great length to be counted separately, to have their own space in the camps, to have their own flag with its specific logo and colour, distinct, and branding, distinct from every other. Tells us the children of Israel shall camp, each man by his own camp, each man by his own flag, each man by his section, with the flag of his father's house, should they camp. And Ibn Ezra tells us, each man by his own flag, is telling us, the Torah says it's forbidden to mix with different tribes. It's forbidden to mix your flags. You have to be in your own camp, in your own space. Talk about tribalism. And then you've got the colours and the designs. Reuven's flag is red, with mandrakes on it. Shimon's is green, with a painting of the city of Shechem, Nablus. Levi's is partly black and partly red, with a picture of the breastplate of the high priest. Yehuda's is sky blue with a lion, and so on and so forth. Each one in great detail. And Binyamin, interestingly, has a multicoloured flag with all of the other 11 colours and the design of a wolf. Why create division within a single people, a single family? A mitzvah to remain in your own tribe, to stand by your own flag? This is the same Torah that speaks in terms of a single, united nation, chosen by God as his people, to be ambassadors of holiness and priests. And here it is advocating division. This is the Torah that says, love your fellow Jew like yourself. And here it's planting seeds of disharmony. Would you feel good if your national flag was suddenly substituted with individual flags for every ethnic group in the UK, or for every postcode, and you're not allowed to leave your own postcode flag? You have to stand with the people in your group. And yet, we find this pervades much of the Torah. When the Red Sea parted to allow our passage, the Midrash tells us it split into 12 pathways, one for each tribe. Each one counted separately the various censuses of the people of Israel. Each had its own stone on the breastplate, the choshen of the high priest, its own flag, its own place in line when they journeyed, its own position when they camped out. 12 spies, each one from a different tribe, were sent on the mission to prepare for the conquest of the Holy Land. And once there, of course, each tribe has its own ancestral land. One wonders, if you want to underscore the unity of the Jewish people and their commonality and their harmony, why would you focus on tribal divisions? Why would you not focus on the melting pot of Jewish identity, where all the tribes are one, carrying one flag, marching to one beat, one nation, as they say in America, united under God? The answer, of course, is it depends how we approach divisions. The very same verse in Bamidbar, which says each tribe has to camp in its own place, with its own flag, also says, the children of Israel shall camp, each by his section, with the flag of their father's house, facing the sanctuary all around. That's how they should camp. Yes, each one was to have their separate identity, their flag and their own tribe. But in the center stood the Mishkan, the tabernacle, constructed by all of them as a home for God. All 12 tribes were an equal distance from it, situated around in a circular shape. And so the nucleus, the focus, was God's tabernacle. And when it came to that, every tribe was equal. Here we have a model for coexistence that lies somewhere between diversity and unity. The unity of Israel should not be confused with being the same. It doesn't depend on destroying individual journeys and identities and experiences. The Tower of Babel depended on everyone speaking one language and the same words. In the mind, this was the only path to cohesion. Destroy diversity. Not so when it comes to the Jewish community and the Jewish nation. God wants each tribe to have a different flag, to speak with its own voice, sing its own tune, paint in its own colour. As long as with all our diverse pathways, we are focused on one central thing, we're facing the same goal, God's tabernacle and the ark with the Torah in, then our flags just enrich our identity. Diversity within our nation is not only something that we should grudgingly accept, but it's a cause for celebration. We get the opportunity to discover different sparks of truth in different people and their customs and their ways of behaving. It's in the face of another that we see that part of God we lack in our own face. It's like marriage. You know, a husband and wife don't have to be similar to enjoy a happy and meaningful marriage. They often say opposites attract. Each can have their own flag, their own favourite colour, their own logo, their own branding. But they need a central unifying vision, a commitment to the institution, to the marriage, to what it represents, which transcends any differences. If they lack this shared focus, then yes, their individuality will tear them apart. But with a shared vision, their individual differences will blend and will actually complement each other, and each will bring out the unique flavour and energy of the other. And so when the Red Sea parted to allow us to pass, it split into 12 pathways, one for each tribe. And interestingly, nothing is by chance. The Midrash tells us each path was divided by a translucent wall of water. Again, a very graphic image of a very important idea. Each tribe is walking its own path, but they can see the others. They can respect and appreciate that there are different pathways. And this is why Bamidbar is read on the Shabbat before Shavuot. When we stood at Sinai to receive the Torah as a single, unified nation. For it is this portion of the Torah that gives us a perspective on the nature of our identity and our relationship to the Torah. We share one covenant. We share one Torah. We come from one God. But each of us has to experience his voice in our own way, with our own individual heart and soul and consciousness. Often people mistake sameness for unity. In the multicultural world we live in, we can and we should celebrate tribalism and individuality. Different people express themselves in different ways. But the big question is, do we have a unifying spiritual vision? Do we have the Mishkan, the abode of God at the center, where all our individual notes create harmony? When we have that larger vision, that deep commitment to God, which transcends the individual, the party, the culture, the identity, then actually our individual pathways form one beautiful mosaic. And it's rather than being a disarray, we're all traveling in the same direction at the same time. It's a very beautiful idea. We can have our individual identity. We can have our individual path. And at the same time, we can still pull in the same direction. One of the most beautiful things about Jewish community is the diversity, different families, different communities, different traditions. We're all pulling in the same direction. And that's what the Torah tells us. Have your identity, have your flag, and at the same time, you can still be part of something bigger without losing your individual identity. It's so important. As we go into Shavuot, we celebrate at home the giving of the Torah for the 3,332nd time, and we're still going. Let's find that balance between the national identity of the Jewish people and the importance of having our own path, our own connection, our own relationship with God and his Torah. I wish everyone a wonderful Shabbos, a safe Shabbat at home, and please God, we should all have good health and simchas. Shabbat shalom.